show. Thanks for tuning in. Here it comes again.
Hola! I have a couple of things I want to share. First, I have a stuffy nose because I just got done sneezing 31, maybe 32 times. I lost count. So yeah, that's awesome. And if you're wondering what A&W stands for, it stands for alcohol and weed. Seriously, that's what it is. Most of what I have to say in the first part is about alcohol and marijuana, but the later part is more about a recent experience I had through meditation and a little bit of weed. The first section I'm about to read was mostly written yesterday after having a couple of drinks. The only things I altered were grammar related or just bad wording. Here we go. I enjoy drinking in a social environment and loosening up and seeing other people loosen up a bit, but what I don't like is realizing that I might not be in full control of myself. Alcohol has always affected me in more of a negative way than a positive way, depending on what I'm drinking, how much I'm drinking, who I'm with, what state of mind I was in, and etc. If you asked me 6 or 7 years ago if I wanted to smoke marijuana or drink alcohol, I would have picked alcohol without any hesitation whatsoever. I wasn't a big fan of marijuana in the past and would have certain opinions about those who did smoke. As the years have gone on and things have changed in my life and I have evolved as a human and contributor to society, I would now proudly choose marijuana over alcohol. Every time that I have a couple of drinks, now I'm reminded of the negative and potentially volatile effect that it has on me. I've never had that feeling after smoking. Smoking seems to be much more of a social lubricant to me rather than alcohol. Of course, depending on personalities and types of marijuana and whatever. Smoking gives me more tunnel vision in a good way where I can really focus on something without getting too stressed out about it as easily as I might otherwise. It helps in more ways than it doesn't versus alcohol, which helps me in pretty much zero ways other than giving me an excuse to be an idiot. When I've had too much alcohol in the past, I've made some questionable decisions. I tend to overthink things, react negatively to certain things. I don't process things correctly. It causes me to misremember things. I feel like shit the next day. It contributes to weight gain, all of that junk. It's always fun in the moment, and I don't think much of it in the moment. But now when I realize I've had enough of it in my system, it's like a light bulb turns on in my head and shows me all the negative things that could possibly result from this misstep. I'm not saying that I'm against alcohol or that I refuse to drink it anymore. I'm just reminded that I don't want to drink like I used to, and I don't think a lot of other people should either. I'm also not saying that you should smoke marijuana. It doesn't work the same for everyone. And I would also suggest doing that later in life, not in your teens or early 20s, really. I'm just speaking from my own experience and perspective after using both of these things in my later years and being more mentally aware of the effects that they have on my mind and body. Neither of these things make me a better person, but one of them definitely makes me a worse person, and that is definitely alcohol. I am quicker to anger, which is a normality already, but alcohol fuels it intensely. It just puts me in a mental state that I do not want to be in anymore. Okay, so yeah, that's what I wrote out yesterday after having a couple of drinks at a lunch party. I just felt like taking note of how I was feeling in the moment so I could remember it later and reflect on it. So yeah, that's that. I don't know if you can hear this in the background, but it's really annoying, and it's apparently a chainsaw somewhere close to my home. So anyway, it's not that hard to think about not having a margarita at a good Mexican restaurant or not having a drink when I go out to a show or somewhere special, but it's nice to be able to do that. But I'm realizing more and more that when I drink more than a single drink in most situations, it eventually takes my mind places I don't really want it to go, and I get very sensitive to inconvenience or misrepresentation. What I mean by misrepresentation is giving the wrong impression of myself and basically creating a memory for someone to have of me that doesn't accurately represent me. I don't want to slur words or not make sense or whatever just because this fermented fluid makes me feel funny. I'm not saying I'm going sober or judging anyone for having all the alcohol they can handle. I'm just admitting that I don't really care about drinking like I used to, and I don't think about weed and weed smokers the same as I used to. I've had some wonderful, mind-opening experiences smoking weed compared to having a few drinks and wanting to punch a door or something. I'm overall in such a better place now mentally, and I don't know if I would have made my way to being more mindful and mentally aware if some of the things in my past didn't happen. I was talking with my buddy Bentley yesterday about my realization of my alcohol regret yesterday via FaceTime, and he tried to give me a guilt trip saying, "How can you be podcasting about mental awareness and you're getting all angry? I'm Bentley." That's not how he talks, but he has a good point to consider. But my getting angry isn't my bigger problem. The bigger problem is staying angry, getting more angry. I can much better filter my anger when sober, and especially after I've smoked. But I think my problem with alcohol is that it bypasses that filter and somehow amplifies what's coming through. Does anyone else out there have that problem? Or realize that after hearing this that maybe you do? Let's talk about it. Hit me up. Alrighty, this next section was wrote out moments after it happened, so everything will be worded as though it just happened. Enjoy. I just had the weirdest experience while meditating. At first, it started out completely normal, just really calm and trying to concentrate, but then I started seeing what looked like animated radio waves or something like a Wi-Fi signal that kind of animates a signal or a sound coming through. Maybe picture the little Wi-Fi symbol coming into your field of vision from several different angles. It was like all the sounds I was hearing outside were coming through to my focal point as these waves, these little cartoon illustrated waves. I was doing a 10-minute guided meditation on Sam Harris's Waking Up app, which, pause, his app is free right now for the rest of 2019 to download and check it out. If you want to experience some guided meditations for free, I would do that immediately. Back to what I was saying. I was doing a 10-minute guided meditation on Sam Harris's app, and he was talking about bringing up negative thoughts and seeing if they could bring up negative emotions and to pay attention to how they made me feel. I believe I've actually done this in one of my podcasts as well, but I tried to think of something negative and I actually couldn't think of anything at all. I actually kind of started laughing because I couldn't think of anything negative, and it made me feel just extreme joy. I was trying to ignore what Sam was talking about since it was referring to negativity, and I simply couldn't grasp anything negative. Then about halfway through the session, where I was locked into a comfortable and neutral state of mind, I heard kids playing outside in the distance, and also the faint sound of someone whistling outside. The whistling and the kid sounds, for some reason, launched me back into the driveway of the house I grew up in. I was looking at the garage and then picturing myself in the moment from the past where I could see my dad in the garage and I could walk in and smell oil and maybe even some whiskey, thinking of more construction and welding type smells as I leave the garage and walk up to the front porch steps. I walk into the living room and then into the dining room and into the kitchen. And I remember the kitchen table by the back door, but then I would turn around and go into my room, which was next to the kitchen, walk out of my room into the hallway, then look into the bathroom and look to the left towards my sister's room and my parents' room. And I immediately picture leaving my street onto the next street, and then passing the old library down the road and passing the old church I went to, and then turning right into my high school parking lot. From there, I imagine myself parking my old motorcycle in the parking lot and then walking through the front of the school through the metal detectors, and then down the hallway towards the cafeteria and the Cougar Den store thing that I would buy some stuff for lunch. Then went back out to the road, onto the main road, and then left onto my grandmother's street, and then pulling into the neighbor's driveway to turn back around and park the right way. Then I walked up to the front porch of my grandma's house and noticed the chairs where my grandmother and great-grandmother used to sit, and walked through the front screen door and distinctly remember the way the handle feels on that door. Walking through and stepping onto the carpet and feeling the warmth in the house while also breathing the thickness of the smoky air and trying to somehow remember the smell of the chocolate pie that my grandma was baking. Then I imagined walking into the kitchen and to that weird linoleum floor and giving my grandma a big hug, and then it's like I went back in time again, and my grandpa was still there, and he got up from the table in the kitchen to shake my hand, and those two things immediately brought me to tears, and it's kind of coming back to me right now. After that, I walked out into the back of the house, and through the black screen that was outside around a laundry area and this old structure used for storage and stuff, I briefly walked through the inside of that and then back out and noticed the greenhouse that used to be there. Then I got emotional again thinking about my grandma not having the greenhouse later, and basically the thought of losing her again. And then I made my way down to the bottom of the yard up to the creek, and I went to where the ground curves down, specifically thinking about the way the ground goes down to the top of the dam, and stepped down onto the dam and looked down on the right side, which was, 20, 30 feet down, I think. Remembering the thickness of the brush over the top of the creek behind it, and how my grandpa used to tell stories about a red eye that was back there, which was probably someone's back porch light or something. And I think I pretty much stopped there in awe of what just happened. I have such a hard time remembering things a lot, and it was a very, very weird experience being randomly launched into these memories, and then completely ignoring meditation and just navigating my way through a couple of different time periods in my life. Okay, I know that's a weird place to stop, but I didn't continue writing. That's where I stopped writing. But I wrote all that right after it happened, so it was fresh, in my mind. But yeah, very weird, very, very weird experience with memory. I don't know what brought on the initial thought, other than hearing those noises from outside, and it kind of just like tapping into some timeline, and it just went with the flow. I don't know what happened, but I think I had just one hit of a joint before that, to be honest. I just wanted to throw that out there. It's not 100% meditation as far as the story goes. I don't always smoke when I meditate, but it does help me focus, and I get less distracted mentally. Regardless, that's what happened, and it was a very unique experience, and I'm curious if anyone else has experienced something like that, whether it be sounds, hearing sounds and it reminding you of something in your past, and then you just start remembering things that you might not have remembered otherwise. If you've had those experiences, I would love to hear about them. Hit me up and let's talk about it. Taco about it. Memory is a great subject to talk about. My memory is going to shit every day, and that's why I take a lot of notes, take a lot of pictures, and just have things to refer back to, because I do much better when I have something to help jog my memory. I don't know what it is, but it's like my computer needs to defrag or something. I can't access the file locations for those memories on command. I have to have some sort of help or like subject. I was talking to Chantel about that the other day, about trips that we've been on. You know, if somebody asked me something, you know, hey, you went to such and such place, you know, 4 years ago. How was this? Man, I don't know. I don't even know what we did. I don't even know where we went, what happened. But if Chantel said, you don't remember the tree over here that we, you know, sat next to, and that just one little bit of information. If she said that, it's like, I found that file location in my head, and now I can see everything in that folder. I know, yeah, that's when we did this and this. Oh yeah, and before that we did this. It's like I need that one little bit of information in order to access everything around it. Is that normal? Is my brain dying? I just don't know I can't do it on my own, you know, other than keeping these notes and photos and stuff. That's my gateway. That's my key to my memory, is being able to have something to help locate those files, I guess. I'm sorry if this sounds stupid and I'm just going on and on, but you know, just whatever, I'm done. Anyway, if you've had any experiences like anything that I've mentioned today, or, you know, want to talk about pros and cons of alcohol and weed, or, you know, your own experiences or whatever, just hit me up. It's always good subject matter. I kind of want to do more of these solo podcasts. I get a little self-conscious about not having good titles or subjects, or just thinking that I'm rambling or whining or whatever. I don't know. That's my problem. But anything that you guys would like to hear me talk about, or hear my opinion on, or, you know, ask me, or anything, just send it to me and I'll do something with it. Put it on here, or answer it on, you know, online or whatever. Anyway, I'm done for now for this. Just wanted to get this little bit out. And tomorrow I'm going to be sitting down with Micah Malone, a local tattoo artist and jiu-jitsu instructor. Looking forward to that conversation. Whoa, did you hear that? That was my stomach. Anyway, take care and see you next time.
Rusty's Escape Pod. Rusty's Escape Pod.